Is it correct that I don't see myself there? Yeah, okay, good. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Well, for me, it is evening that you are joining the webinar. So, this webinar will be we'll be explaining about the wood energy. So, if you were watching last time, the webinar that I did on chi and what is chi and explaining it. So I do a little bit of repetition of that, but then I go and dive deeper into the wood energy. So in Chinese medicine, what the online training is about with the yin and meridians ones is that they see nature as energy. They looked outside and they looked within. So on a macro level, outside, micro level, inside. And they recognized that actually everything is energy. Everything is moving, is changing all the time. And for some people, this is kind of, especially for the people in the West, this is difficult to grasp. But I will try today to kind of make it more understandable for us if you are living in the West. So they saw energies all the time. So they looked at the outer world and they saw a yin and a yang energy. So most of you know probably the yin and yang symbol of the half being in the white and the other half in black, and then having a dot of white in the black and a dot of black in the white. So this is expressed as the yin and yang energy, the yang being the more dynamic energy and the yin being the more passive energy. And this is following each other all the time, continuously. So if we take the day, for example, as an example to explain those energies, when you rest at night, you are in the completely yin part of the energy. So that is the black part of the symbol. And then gradually, when the starts to come up, then you gradually start to wake up, and then you start feeling rejuvenated. That's the idea, when you have had a good night's sleep. And then you are filled with energy to start with your day. So then with the day, the sun is rising, and you also have enough energy to start the day with, ideally. And then at about noon, the sun reaches its highest point, and that is also the moment that we reach, or that we feel that we have most of the energy present. And then we have lunch, and then actually we feel our energy, because we're going towards the black part of the yin and yang symbol again, so more towards the passive side. We feel that the energy starts to become lower. So, and this is with everything the case. You have energy for something, but the energy doesn't last forever. You also need to fill it up again. So then you feel like you have less energy, and then you need to rest and digest and to regain the energy again. So this is the energy movement that they saw in nature, but also within ourselves, and everywhere in the seasons, they recognize this. But it's not all black and white. You have like transition moments of energy, which is not completely yang, and that would be summer, would be fire energy, or it's not completely yin, which is the winter energy. But there are phases in between. So if you look at seasons, we can really relate to that. So after winter comes autumn. So that is actually the start of the more youngish energy. We're going towards summer, but we're not in that peak of the yang energy yet. We're still going towards it. But this autumn energy, or this spring energy, that is very potent, has a lot of energy in it. So this is what they call the wood energy, related to, they looked outside and they saw like the plants started to grow, everything starts to bloom in nature. So this is a very explosive energy. So that's what I'm gonna explain a little bit more about. So sometimes you can be kind of be confused or a little bit limited by the fact that they call it elemental theory, because that's what this is about when you start to explain the different elemental energies. But if you start to look at it as an energy instead of an element, being wood, like what does that mean? Do I have to recognize wood everywhere now? And how does that relate to the body? Like the liver and the gallbladder, which is really connected to this wood energy in Chinese medicine. That kind of ticks us off. But if you look at this wood element and you see it as an energy, then for me anyway, it becomes way clearer and more palpable and more understandable. So a very good example is, for example, the time we're living in right now. I'm in the Netherlands, and now spring starts to come. It's starting to open up. You see it in nature, but we also feel this inside. So this anticipation, this sensation of like, yeah, okay, we feel like going outside. You want to do things like this explosive, expanding energy we also feel inside. But as we are in COVID time, and in the Netherlands we are in lockdown, we are not able to go outside. So I was observing what is happening at the moment in our society in the Netherlands, and probably you recognize this in other countries as well, is that people start to get very frustrated, irritated with not being able to be free, not being able to do the things that they want to do because of the limitations that COVID places upon us and the rules that are placed upon us, which are good in one way, but it's already 1 year. So there is this feeling of people getting fed up with it. So anger, which is the emotion connected to the wood energy being out of balance, not feeling free, then this wood energy that we all have inside kind of creates this anger, this impatience, this frustration, and we start to act it out. But to balance this energy, and that asks a lot from us, is patience, taking a step back, being patient, being compassionate with the situation. So if you look outside in your society right now, that is a very difficult thing for people to do, because we are trying already so long to be patient, to kind of go with the flow, which is also part of the wood energy. But at some point, if the wood energy feels locked, then it wants to get really explosive and fall out. So these emotional reactions that are happening now all around in the Netherlands, that people are getting frustrated and angry with things, with the rules, with the evening clock, with everything, we start to resist. For me, this is a very much an expression of the wood energy, kind of like trying to break free. So it is interesting if you can recognize this wood energy in your own life, because I can give you a list, and that is also what the Chinese medicine teaches us. And I also show that to you in the Yin and Meridian teacher training. But that is basically kind of like a tool to kind of get a feel of what this wood elemental energy is about. So, for example, angry outbursts is one of them. But then going with the flow, free flow of emotion is also one of them. Being able to making plans, to make decisions, and to actually make your new ideas happen. So also inspiration, creativity is also very much connected with this expansive energy that is the wood energy. So, and when it's out of balance in your physical body or in the emotional body or in the mental body, it can be expressed in different ways. So physically, for example, you can have tensions in the neck, tensions in the side of the rib cage. You can feel tensions in the bum area and the SI joint or the lateral side of the legs. And these are especially the areas where the meridians of the gallbladder are. So physically, the problems or the symptoms, the body is trying to tell you something, that the wood energy inside of you is out of balance by manifesting itself as tensions or difficulties in the body. Other examples can be PMS, for example, or menstrual irregularities. And emotional reactions is the ones that I just told you about frustration and irritation and shouting out. And another one is, for example, having difficulties with your vision, because the eyes are also very much connected with this elemental energy. So when you're, for example, very angry, your eyes start to bulge out. Or when you had too much to drink, then also there is this redness in the eyes, which is actually related to the liver and the gallbladder. So you have different ways of manifestations of your body or your emotions or your mind being able to show you or to recognize, oh, wow, wait a second, my wood energy is out of balance. So then how can you balance that energy? Well, of course, eating well, sleeping well, all the general things that you have to do to take care of yourself, doing yoga, but especially exercise really is good for the wood energy. Wood energy doesn't like to be stagnant. It wants to flow. It wants to move. Hence this expansive energy that we can recognize. So exercise is very good, especially if you feel like really powerless or you feel limitations and you feel this frustration and irritation coming up. Then a good thing to do is to go and really get the juices moving inside of your body. But meditation, on the other hand, is also good to really sit and to be compassionate. For example, forgiveness meditation is a very good one for you to do, to not hold grudges against someone or some situation. So to go inside, to feel, and also counting till 10, not right away acting out on the things that happen to you. So a yin practice actually is very great to practice that, because in yin yoga, it teaches you to take a moment for 5 minutes or longer to feel what is happening inside, to observe and not to react to it. So that is actually very calming, very soothing for the wood energy, especially when it's out of balance. So it's two sides. One side, you have to move, exercise, get all the juices flowing into your body. And at the same time, for your emotional well-being, taking time and step back and do more meditative practices. Also, the breath really helps to calm the breath down, really deep breathing, to calm your system down, to calm your nervous system down. Because in wood energy, it's on edge. It wants to go. It wants to go. Go, go, go. That is the energy of wood energy. It wants to go forward. It wants to do stuff. So if that you are not able to do that, whether you're maybe tired or due to the surrounding that you're not able to do that, then okay, taking a step back, patience and compassion for yourself, but also for your surrounding, for the people around you. So that is very important. I'm just kind of looking into my paper if I wanted to add anything more to that. No, actually, I mentioned the most important things. Yeah. So yeah, the thing what I told you about the symptoms that we can have, so that is the manifestation of the chi energy of wood being out of balance, for example, and you recognize yourself in the physical ailments or the mental or emotional ailments. The danger in that is that we then all of a sudden start to think, oh, there's something wrong with my wood energy. See it as something that you recognize, and then you can treat it, or you can work with it in the things that I just told you with meditation, exercise, or yoga. Yeah. But if you really want to know how the imbalances are in your body, because now I'm just talking about the wood energy, but it might be that the wood energy is out of balance because there is a weakness or an excess happening in the other energies. So that could be the water energy, the fire energy, the earth energy, or the metal energy. So if you want to know that specifically, then going to a Chinese doctor or acupuncturist would be great to do. And then whatever they tell you to stimulate, then you can use the poses. And if that is wood, then you can use the poses that stimulate the areas of the meridians. So the chi also flows in our body everywhere. And then connected to the wood energy is the liver meridian and the gallbladder meridian. So the gallbladder meridian starts in the head on the side of the eye, and then it goes lateral side of the head back and forth, and then it goes down the lateral back side of the neck, and then it goes in front of the shoulder and it zigzags here on the torso, and then it goes over to the bum area and the outside of the leg. So I've brought this doll, which is used for the acupuncturist and that to stimulate the acupuncture points on the specific line of the gallbladder meridian. But when we do yoga or when we try to treat ourselves and balance the wood energy, it is more the area that is important. So not so much the lines, sticking to the lines, but you really want to stimulate the back lateral side of the neck, the whole area. So when you do a pose, that would be great to feel that area. Then the same time, the lateral side of the body, if you stimulate that, for example, with going to sideways, that you stimulate and feel a stretch or opening in that area. The same for the bum and the outside of the leg. And then the liver is on the inside of the leg and then also goes up laterally on the torso. So again, not the primary meridian as it is called with what they use in the Chinese medicine and acupuncture, but more the myofascial meridian. That's how it's called. So the broader area, and that is what helps us to connect with the area of the liver. So again, poses that stimulate the lateral side of the torso or the inner part of the leg. So I have some poses that I wanted to share with you that stimulate these meridians. So the first one would be shoelace. So in one of the previous webinars and also in the videos on Eckhart Yoga, I explain that not everybody is able to do this pose because of their skeletal variation. So if this pose creates a sensation in the knee or in the hips, so in the joint itself, that's not the where we want to feel it. We want to feel this in our bum and in the lateral side of the legs when we go forward. Or you can add, for example, a lateral stretch with the torso so that you can stimulate the liver and the gallbladder as well here in the torso. So if this is not doable for the knees, then you can start to play with the body, maybe taking the legs further apart, abducting it's called, maybe placing the foot on top of the knee, but then if that is still felt in the knee, you can go and place the foot in front, and now you're all of a sudden in square. So whether you do square or shoelace, it doesn't matter, as long as you feel this in the bum area. So now if you would go forward and you feel it in the bum, that's great. If you don't feel, you should not feel this in the knee nor in the hip. You can also move the torso a little bit to the left so that it creates more of a stimulation also in the right lower side of the hip and the lower back. And maybe you feel it also more laterally. But of course, you would feel it even more if you would go lateral. Then this leg might come up. That's okay. You can gently press it down. Again, should not feel it in the knee. But then going laterally, and that can also help you feel the stimulation on the side of the torso. You can support the head or allow the arm to go to the side to enhance that. But if that diminishes the bum area and you don't want that, you really want to stimulate the bum, then you go more forward. So it is important to play with the body because their skeletons are not the same and we're not able to make the same movements. If you feel the tension in the area that I just mentioned of the meridians, of the gallbladder and the liver, that is the area that we want to work with or that we want to target. So not a sensation in the joints. And then another pose that really greatly targets also the bum area is, for example, sleeping swan. So going into the pose, you want to rotate externally your leg. So the inner part of your thigh, your right thigh in this case, comes up. And then you walk backwards with the other leg so that you feel a stretch here. Again, in this pose, you don't want to feel the knee. So, and where the foot is, I'm not talking about this because it all depends on the rotation possibility of your thigh. And this is what I talk about a lot in the online Yin Anatomy teacher training that we have on Eckhart Academy, where you learn how you can adapt functionally, so according to your body, the right alignment, and target the right area, so the bum area. So where the foot is not important. What is important is that you don't feel it in the knee nor in the right hip. So to avoid the right sensation in the right knee, you could place the right hip on the floor. And if the back knee bends, Allow that to happen. That's fine. And now, still staying with your right hip on the floor, you can safely play with the right foot up and down, because now you're not asking a movement of the knee that it's not able to do, because now it just bends and flexes more. And that's what the knee is really good at. And then you fold over the leg. Again, you can place your torso in any position in order to feel more or different or less stimulation in your right bum area. You can also turn, make a twist. You can press a little bit with your hand into the floor, but then you should find a position in which you can relax. So you can use bolsters and lie on top of it to allow yourself to relax. So the back leg can move in any direction. Play a little bit with that back leg so that you can feel how or what position stimulates your right bum area the best. And then you can also add your head to it so you feel stimulation in the neck area where also the gallbladder is. And then you stay for about 5 minutes. And if you feel an uncomfortable pressure in the groin because of folding forward, and that is in my body the case, I would not pick the sleeping swan, because whatever I do with my torso, I still feel a sharp pressing sensation of my bone of my hip into my groin. So for me, my body, it works the best to do either shoelace or square pose. So it is not always necessary to be able to do all the poses that exist in yin. Just pick the poses that stimulate the area the best for your body so that you can relax, because that will also enhance the chi flow and balance the chi flow better, because you're able to relax into it. So that was actually what I wanted to tell you about this wood energy. So maybe there are some questions either about the pose or anything that I told you about. So just moving over here. Oh, there are really a lot of people. Hello there. So there's a little bit of a delay in the question. So if you have a question, you can always write it down, and then I will talk you through it. Anything about the chi or the wood energy, or how that works with the meridians and to stimulate it. Okay, you're welcome, Daniela. So Maria, hello. Working in the gallbladder meridian could help to improve cellulite. No, cellulite would be more the earth energy. So that has to do more with retaining liquid and fats in a certain area of the body. So cellulite is more the earth elemental energy. And that is different. Those are different poses that you can do for that. I can understand your question, because you're referring to, okay, it's targeting the bum area. That's true. But you have to look at what cellulite is. And cellulite has to do more with retention of things in your body. And that is something that is more related to the earth energy. Not being able to let go of things, that there is a stagnation inside of the body, kind of storing stuff up, you could say. Giving yourself too much nurturing instead of allowing it to go. So yin poses that, for example, open up the front body or your quads or your hip flexors like the dragon, then would be more beneficial, even though it doesn't target the bum area. Okay, Pavlina, could you please recommend any other poses for the liver and gallbladder meridians? Yeah, sure. For example, dragonfly, Dragonfly stimulates the inner thighs, and then you fold forward. So if folding forward is not, you're not able to do folding forward because the pelvis falls backwards, you can also do it up against the wall with your legs apart, and then the bum against the wall to really feel the stimulation in the inner thighs. And also you have, for example, frog pose. Frog pose again stimulates the inner thighs, so the liver meridian. And there again, you can play around with the body, going forward, backwards, playing with the feet or the leg position, using a bolster to prop yourself up so that it's not too intense to stimulate the inner thighs. So actually any pose that targets the inside of the legs or the bum area. And then any position that you do with the torso that has a lateral stretch in it, so that you target really the lateral side of the torso. And you can do that in any pose. You can also do half butterfly or half dragonfly, how this pose is called sometimes. Some people feel this also in the adductors, so the liver area, the inner thigh, but some people feel it also in the back of the leg. But then that doesn't matter if you feel the back of the leg, if you're focusing more on the opening part in the torso, and maybe it also goes down into the buttock area. So it doesn't matter. When you stimulate your body, you actually stimulate all the meridians at once. You cannot say, oh, I'm just now targeting the liver and gallbladder meridian. But because you are focusing on these areas, that's where your attention goes. So that's also what you feel that is being changed. The moment you put your attention somewhere, something is happening, especially in that area where you put your attention. Yeah. So, Marit, hello. Would gallbladder meridian exercises help with migraines and light sensitivity? Yes, totally yes. There is also a pose that you could do, especially with migraines. You are using a block. So there is a point here just below the skull where your skull is kind of, it's not close to the, maybe you can zoom into this area, Louisa, but so here you have the spine, right? And then these are the muscles connected close to the spine. But then you go a little bit, you follow the border of your skull, and then there's this part that goes down a little bit. And just below that, if you press there, that can be sensitive. If you press it hard, then you can actually right away feel this into your head. So a pose that you could do to stimulate that area is using a block and place it, can you see me? And place it diagonally, so on the side, so that the border of the block kind of presses into that area. So at first you have to hold it to kind of feel confident that it's not slipping away. And then you can gently move your head from side to side, first to get used to the pressure, because what you're doing here is kind of creating acupressure, as it were, on these points. And it's gallbladder 20. That is the point on either side. And then you can turn the block a bit to really stimulate that specific point and really relax the shoulders and the neck so that the pressure is applied, and then really relax into it and feel the effect. Well, for me, it's really relaxing right away. So when you have migraines, and do it when you need it and not all the time, because I had a student that was so blown away by the effect that she did it every day, but not when she had a migraine, and that it was too much. So do it when you have a migraine and then stimulate that area. And you can stay as long as you feel that is good. So at some point, if it's too much, then go out and lie down and rest and allow the effect of that stimulation to go in. So, and with light sensitivity, yes, the same thing. So the eyes are very much connected to the wood energy because it has to do with vision. The wood energy is also like they have a plan, they want to go there, or this energy creates that you want to go somewhere. You have an idea, and that's where I want to go. So, characteristics of people who have a lot of wood energy have these visions, these ideals that they want to go for, and they're going to go and do anything to get it. Yeah, so their compassion comes in to kind of, you have to take into account the people surrounding you as well to get where you want to go. But so this vision, the eyes are very much portraying the status of your liver and gallbladder, the organs, the state of their organs. So if it's very sensitive, then I would really do a wood energy practice. So stimulating the gallbladder and liver meridian. You can also do eye exercises, but also rest. So closing the eyes, taking a moment to kind of calm down the eyes. So Yin Studio is saying, when teaching, both poses take some time to explain. Just stay calm and explain each pose after each other, or mention the variation straight away, but beginners will not understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. In my experience is you have to teach functionally. So telling them what to feel and what not to feel. And then explaining them that everybody is different. So if you as a teacher repeat often enough where they should not feel this pose, in the shoelace or square, so not in the knee and not in the hip, and then you guide them to different variations, saying, okay, we start like this. If you cannot sit like this, your hip is coming off the floor. This means that you cannot make that rotation. So then already give them the opportunity to widen their legs and then to place one foot in front. And then, so in this way, if you teach it like this, you give them the opportunity to experiment for themselves and to play with their body, what their body is able to do. So as a teacher, you have to be very clear in what to feel and what not, in what not to feel and what to feel, and to give variations for the things that you don't want to feel, so that you are able to avoid that what you don't want to feel. And explaining like, okay, we don't have to do the same pose. What is important that I want you to feel is the area. So that is functional teaching. So if that is difficult, just kind of say, okay, I do give 2 variations if that's difficult to start with, 2 variations, and then go with that. But there will always be, in a group of 40 people, there will be always like 2, 3, 4 people that are not able to do the variations that you're doing. So that for those people, you would have to go there and help them out, how to play with their body. And maybe eventually eye of the needle is the pose for them that gives them the stimulation in the bum, that is lying down and having the legs like this. So it is important to teach functionally so that they start to play with their body and discover for themselves how to feel the right area and how not to feel the area that you don't want to feel. So that is actually what I talk extensively about in the Yin Anatomy online teacher training. Mariska, should you add yang poses to help the flow of Wu Qi? Yeah, you could do that for sure. You can combine yin and yang to it. But again, it's not necessary, because when we do a yin practice, due to the stretching, due to the compressing of the area of where the meridians are, that pulling and twisting or pressing, that actually already makes the qi flow. But wood energy needs also exercise, so it really needs the more, what is the word? I lost the word. When you exercise a lot, then the cardiovascular. So then you start to really enhance your cardiovascular system. So that is also wanted. But you can do a mixture for sure. Yeah. But it's not like, okay, you should do that to stimulate the wood energy. That's not the case. Then Angela, stimulating the meridians works with stretching. Will compression also work? Yeah, that's what I just mentioned. Yes. So stretching, compressing the area, twisting the area, that is all stimulating. You have to remember that we are stimulating in yin, the fascia, and the fascia is connected throughout the whole body. And it's within this fascia where the meridian system lies, where the chi flows through. So the moment we stimulate in all these ways with the poses, the fascia, you stimulate the flow of the chi, you stimulate physically. What happens is that the state of that the fascia is in is more gel-like normally, because the body cannot hold the amount of water that we have inside as a liquid, so it turns it over into a gel. But then when we stimulate the body with the poses, it temporarily becomes more liquid, and that's where we feel the high when we go out of the yin pose and lie and rebound, but also we actually feel this throughout the whole body. So actually toxins are being removed, nutrients are being placed in the places where it's needed, cells can communicate. It's a very deep effect, even though the practice itself seems like you're doing not much. Daniele, the liver meridian goes through the uterus. Yes, it is very much connected with the reproductive organs. So if you want to specifically know what the lines are of the meridians, so on the Chinese medicine doll, they are portrayed like the external pathways, but you also have internal pathways of the meridians that are connecting to the organs itself, so the liver and the gallbladder, but also they connect with other organs. So the uterus, it's also connected. It actually kind of makes a swirl around it. So yeah, it's very much connected to the reproductive organs. Christiana, wood energy is in spring, only the transition time. Depends also on people energy, structure. Okay, if I understand your question well, Christiana, no, wood energy is most present that you can recognize it in nature in springtime. But actually springtime is the time of the year that is very debilitating, or it can attack the wood energy. So they also call it the dysfunctional climate, for example, or wind attacks the wood energy. So during springtime, you really have to take care of the wood energy within us. So not allowing it to go into excess or nurturing it a lot. And that you can do in the different ways that I told you before, like with the food, with the exercises that you do. But if you look at wood energy, for example, in character, in people, we all have the 5 energies within us. But sometimes the characteristics of somebody, it has more of a wood energy. And like in Ayurveda, you have the Pitta, Kapha, Vata, you have the doshas. So the same actually with the 5 elements. We all have the 5 elements within us, but some people, some characters, you can tell that they have a lot of wood energy within them. For example, an example with excess of wood energy is somebody who walks always in a quick pace with the head a little bit forward because it wants to get over there. It kind of like doesn't take into account all the other people surrounding him because it's focused on a goal. It's a plan or goal-oriented person. It plans a lot. This person plans a lot. In excess, it can be very rigid and strict and very control freaky, so to say. So then it's in excess. Then this energy is out of balance. So we all have these energies within us. So even though it's not springtime, the wood energy can still be recognized within you, for example, as a character, or if you eat a lot of fast food or fat foods, drink a lot of alcohol or coffee, eat a lot of dairy, that all attacks a lot the energy of the wood. So apart from the season that it's in, that can still influence your wood energy within you on micro level. But in nature, macro level, in springtime, that is the time where the wood energy is very much visible. Yeah. So Naomi, are all exercises appropriate when there is pain on the trajectory of gallbladder meridian and right size upper leg? Yeah. So you have to know, just so you know, on both sides, the gallbladder meridian and the liver meridian are, even though on the right side, the liver and the gallbladder organs are situated. Yeah, so on both sides of the body, we have the liver and the gallbladder meridian. So if you have pain in the area, first of all, I'm not a Chinese doctor, and we are not doctors either. So if there is pain, it's always advisable to go to a doctor first to kind of know what is going on. But if if you're talking about tension, for example, that can be helped with doing yoga, allowing to stretch that area or to strengthen your body to allow the blood to flow and do more yang-like exercises. So if there is a pain, I would first go to a doctor and have it checked out what it is. And then with consent of the doctor, or you go to a Chinese doctor or you go to an acupuncturist, then you can decide what stimulation is good. So in Yin Yoga, if you want to stimulate the body, you don't want to feel, or in any type of yoga, you don't want to feel a sharp stinging sensation in the joint or in a certain area. You want to feel it over a whole area. So that is the area that you want to either strengthen or stretch, open up. Yeah, so if you have tensions on the pathway of the gallbladder meridian, then go for it, but mildly. Yeah, do the stimulation that you feel that is doable for you. And then from there, feel what is happening, what is changing. Yeah. Don't repress the emotions that might be liberated. And then Yin Yang Julia, you said to feel the bum in swan. Depending on how I'm situated, I feel the inner thigh, the liver meridian. What do you suggest to say in class for swan since both areas stimulate the wood? Yeah, good question. So if you specifically want to do swan, but you cannot feel it in the bum, first of all, I think maybe you have not played enough, because you can also take the knee more to the front, so not abduct the leg so much, and then walk backwards, and then playing around with the body. You can also use props to place it underneath the bum, not because your bum is off the floor, but to be able to create more of a falling forward sensation. Or any kind of prop or whatever you need to stimulate the bum. But then again, if you feel this in the inner thigh and you don't mind as a teacher that they don't feel it in the bum because you're working on the wood energy, then if they feel it in the inner thigh, that could also be for you as a teacher a good thing to feel. Yeah, but if you have the goal as a teacher to stimulate the bum, then play a little bit more, or do a different pose that targets that area, and maybe that works for that person better, like shoelace or square or eye of the needle. And Valentina, what is recommended to eat in spring to treat well our wood energy? So green stuff. The color that belongs to the wood energy is green. So a lot of leafy green stuff, that is really good. And it doesn't have to be only salads. It can also be warm food. Yeah, that is green. So everything that is fresh, not overcooked, not fatty, not too fatty, not fast food or pre-produced foods. Limit yourself with coffee or alcohol. The liver, the function of the liver is to detoxify the body. So in springtime, a lot of people also do a lot of detoxes. So this is a good time to detox your body, and that will also have a calming effect on the mind. So leafy foods, green leafy foods. And also can also be sour in taste. Sour is the taste that belongs to the wood energy. So sour, the effect of sour has that it pulls the juices towards the body. It keeps the juices in. So when you have, for example, a symptom of the body can be cracking joints, that means that there's a lack of qi going into that area, or a lack of blood, as they say, not literally, not well, blood also, but not only literally. In Chinese medicine, they also talk about blood in another way, but that's way too much information now. But so sour actually helps to keep the body lubricated. So don't start eating now a lot of sour stuff. Take it easy, balance it out. But also kombucha, for example, is kind of soury, and that is really helpful for the wood energy. Oh, right. You're welcome, Valentina. Yeah. So what is very important to know is that you have to be intelligent about it. Yeah, really feel what is correct, and how really feel inside what is the right kind of stimulation with the poses that you do, or what is the effect of the food that you're eating. All the time, it's about feeling, going inside, making yourself aware of the effects. So if it has an opposite effect, like it makes the things that you do make you angry or frustrated or irritated, then again, have a look at the things that you do and try to do them differently. Remember, compassion and patience is the one that nurtures actually the wood energy the most. So from that space, you decide how to go about nurturing the wood energy within you. Daniela, yeah, we did a webinar about the metal energy already last year in autumn. So I don't know if Masha maybe can send you the link to that, or how you are able to see that one as well. Great, Christian. So yeah, now you've signed up for these webinars. So that means that of the both trainings that I was talking about, where in which you learn about the functional teaching and you go deep inside the body and learn about the movements of the body parts and how you can adjust the poses in a personalized way, so that you really feel the areas instead of doing it in an aesthetical way, how the pose should look like. That is the 50-hour Yin and Anatomy teacher training that we have on Eckhart Academy. And then the training that is about the emotional, energetic aspects of the Yin practice, that is the 30-hour Yin and Meridian teacher training that we have on Eckhart Academy. So if you signed up for this, you have 48 hours discount of 20%. So maybe I'll see you there. If you have more questions, you can always leave a comment below and I'll try to answer them later. There you go, Masha. Thanks, Masha. Are there any more questions for me that you would like to know about the wood energy or energy in general, or poses, or the way you teach it, or... Okay, see you soon, Valentina. Yes, Yin Studio pickles green and sour. Yes, exactly. I see your answer now. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Is there a code for the discount, please? Yeah, I think it's below the video. I think you... Hmm? Oh, it's in their email. Okay. It's in your email. Sylvia, it's in your email. Great, Daniela. Okay, yeah, Mariska, excess in wood energy. Yeah, so if it's out of balance and if you know that it's really an excess, should you use a counter element? Yeah, so then we're going and diving deeper into the meridian, or in the other elements. So actually, metal energy then is controlling the wood. That can be the case. But it can also be the case that the wood energy is in excess because of something else. So what I would advise you to do is to go to an acupuncturist or a Chinese doctor to help you understand what creates this excess in your wood energy. So, and then they will tell you for your body and your state that you are in, what elemental energy should be increased to help go down the wood energy. But remember, the practices that you do to stimulate the wood energy, if there is an excess, the body always wants to go to balance. It always wants to heal. So when you do a wood practice, this will also help to diminish the excess. If there is a deficiency of wood energy, the wood practice would also help. So if the wood is in excess, you could use the elemental energy of metal. So upper body poses that stimulate the lungs and the arms, that could help to pacify the wood energy. But again, I would check it with an acupuncturist. When is the best time of the day to teach yin, especially for beginners or stressed people? In my experience, it doesn't matter. Anytime, anywhere. But you can do it in the morning if people already feel very stressed out. You can start the day with calming energy that brings yin yoga. You can do it in the evening, so after the whole day, and then calm them down. But you can, well, you can also do it during noon. There is not the best time. It all depends on the energy within. And then if you feel that you're stressed out, it is a good time to either do more meditative practices or to do a yin yoga practice or a reconstructive yoga to calm your body down. So go more by what you're feeling than with the time that you think is right. Yeah. You're welcome, Mariska. You're welcome, Pavlina. Okay, are there any more questions for me? You're welcome, Charlotte. Okay. You're welcome, Julia. Yeah. So, yeah, just to finish it off, to help you recognize the energies of wood, the elemental energy of wood, I would just kind of look around you and see if you can feel or recognize the palpable energy instead of going into books and reading about it. You might need that as a base, but then see for yourself if you can recognize it within you in certain moments during the day or in the surrounding around you. Christiane, a live training, wolf, yeah, face to face, hopefully. um, there is another live training in next year, starting next year, a 300-hour in February, and hopefully then COVID will not put any problems along the way. But otherwise, until then, you can follow the online training, which is with actual students being there, and you can leave comments, so that it's quite interactive at the same time. Is there a best order of poses? Most of the time, I would advise you to build it up logically. So don't go right away in the most strongest back bend. If you would do, for example, if we're talking about wood energy poses that stimulate the gallbladder and the liver, I would not continuously do all the time poses that where your knees are bent. So you could try and straighten out your legs as in the counter poses. For example, you've done shoelace or square, and then you straighten out the legs and you fold forward, or you lie down so that your knees are not bent all the time. Or go backwards in reclined butterfly with your feet, and then stimulate the inner thighs, and then go backwards, because folding forward all the time is again the same movement. So actually you can mix and match all the poses through each other. There are no specific rules to follow in sequencing, but just those things I would keep in mind when you're sequencing. Yeah, Christian. Yeah, I know. I think we still need to hang on to the online classes for now. So thank you very much for joining me and Eckhart Yoga in this webinar. And maybe I will see you in one of the online trainings. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Namaste.